What's going on, gentlemen? This is Brian Bandas. Happy Friday, and welcome back to the Married Man, home of the warrior husband. Hope you guys like the new digs. Got the home office rocking and rolling. Got the Married Man sign up, framed, looking crisp. So, something that my wife shared on the podcast that we did 2 weeks ago, where I sort of interviewed her, I guess, and we talked about our marriage, was that she felt like we fight cleaner. And that happened this morning, and so I wanted to take this opportunity on today's video to talk about that. And really, I guess today we'll get a little bit more tactical than we do sometimes. I know a lot of times we're talking about principles and mindset and sort of overarching ideas and philosophies, but I want to get really tactical because we had a tough conversation this morning that I think earlier in our marriage probably would have resulted in a fight, a conflict, and we were able to just talk through it using a couple different tools or habits that we've gotten better at. And if I were to boil it down to a principle, it would be to fight to understand rather than fighting to win. And as she said in that podcast, we definitely used to fight to win. We're both pretty competitive, and it's just sort of a natural default setting for us. So this morning we're having a disagreement over how we wanted to handle something. And what happened was I found that we were able to take it slow, express our feelings and emotions about the situation in a very sort of practical way, acknowledging them as feelings and emotions rather than here's the way it is, and then accepting the other person's feelings and emotions for what they are. And so a couple takeaways that I had, because we got to the end of it and I basically thought, man, okay, thank God, like that went pretty good. What could I take away from that and share that would allow somebody else to maybe be able to navigate something like that? So first, fight to understand, not to win. The desire has to be unity with this person and more closeness with this person. And the good news is that even through a disagreement like this, there's the opportunity to increase your intimacy and increase your closeness because they're going to express and explain to you, here's how I feel, here's what matters to me. So the desire, rather than to win and to subdue my wife, the desire has to be to understand, who is she, where's she coming from, what are her concerns and her fears, what are her values that are driving, her side of this. Secondly, when I express emotions, I'm using language that acknowledges these as emotions rather than you always this, or this is the way it is. I'm going, I'll be honest with you, when you say X, Y, and Z, here's how that makes me feel when you say that. I've been working really hard on this. It feels like you don't value it, whatever it may be. What I'm not saying is I've been working hard and you don't care. I'm saying, hey, it kind of makes me feel like maybe you don't care. I might even tell her that I give her the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, I know you probably do, like I know you better than that, but it feels like you don't. So when I express my emotions, I am expressing them as emotions and acknowledging that that's what they are and leaving space for the possibility that my emotions may not reflect the reality of the situation. The second half of that is that when she expresses her emotions, I accept those as emotions, and I don't feel the need to correct her emotions. In the past, I hope it's in the past, I don't know that it totally is, but I have had the tendency to feel like she should or shouldn't feel a certain way. And I do the same to myself. I should or shouldn't feel this way. When the reality is, I don't know that emotions are right or wrong. Now, we should or shouldn't act certain ways based on those emotions. But if my wife says, I just don't feel like you care, well, the reality is probably that I do care, but it's also true that she feels like I don't. And so I can receive that, understand that just because she feels that way doesn't make it true, but it does give me insight into our relationship and insight into what's important to her. If she doesn't feel like I care, there's a breakdown somewhere. It's not even about blame, it's not even about whether it's my fault or hers, but there is a breakdown somewhere and there's a way for us to improve the way we're relating to one another. Anne Frank, I like this quote. She says, feelings can't be ignored, no matter how unjust or ungrateful they seem. I don't know about you guys, but there have been times when Kelly would express a way she feels and it seems unjust. What do you mean you feel like I don't care? Like, that's ridiculous. I'm working my ass off for our family and et cetera, et cetera. Here's all the evidence that I care. That feeling isn't fair. But that feeling is a feeling. And so to me, if we fight to understand, then a conflict, a disagreement like Kelly and I had this morning is an opportunity to grow in intimacy if we are purposeful about it. If we're not purposeful about it and our goal is to win, it drives a wedge, which we've all experienced that. So I hope that's helpful. Looking forward to coming to you guys from the new home office every single week. Took the week off from the podcast because we had a little family trip for fall break. But I will be back with you this next week as well. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Thank you for joining me. See ya.